I want to get into diagnosing plants. This is the main reason I think everybody comes here and everybody comes to YouTube and looks for stuff, is they've got a problem with their plant. They're trying to figure out what's wrong with my plant. What's wrong with my plant? Let me give you two real quick. This is going to be the initial steps of how to, when you look at a plant, how to diagnose a plant, how to tell what's wrong with it. Right? This doesn't just pertain to hydroponics or orchids. This is pretty much all plants kind of grow in the same way, and they're all going to have these same kind of issues, and they're going to show the same kind of symptoms that we're going to be talking about. The first thing I can tell you is you need to, when you look at a plant, you need to be able to tell whether or not it's a biotic issue, or like an infection, or a disease, versus a nutritional issue. That's the main thing. The easiest way to explain that is, if the plant has a disease, the symptoms or the marks or the spots that you see on the leaves will be asymmetrical. They won't be in any kind of a pattern. There'll be random spots on a leaf, or random tips on a burned, or random marks or something of that nature. When a plant has a nutritional deficiency, the symptoms are usually more symmetrical. Every leaf might have a yellow edge around it. Chlorosis, it might have veining through the leaf, but it'll show a pattern, a symmetrical pattern. So when I'm walking through beds, or I'm looking at plants, or I'm looking at my orchids, in the back of my head, that's what I'm always thinking of. If I see a leaf that shows some signs of chlorosis, I know that's a nutritional issue. If I show yellowing around the edge of a leaf, or purple on the underside, or purpling on a leaf, I know it's a nutritional issue. If I see tiny little spots all over the place, I just noticed that frog sitting right there. You see him huddled up against my cattleya right there on the mount. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, if it's a disease, biotic issue, it's going to show a more random pattern of signs, symptoms. All right? I don't know how else to explain that, but that's step one in how to diagnose a plant. Step two is you need to know whether or not if it's a nutritional issue, and we're only talking about nutritional in this video. So if you've now figured out that, okay, it's not a disease or a biotic issue, it's a nutritional issue. Now, where do you go from there? All right. Then you break it down into the next step. The next thing you look for is mobile and immobile nutrients. Mobile nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, they move around. They'll feed younger growth first, and older leaves will show us symptoms. On an immobile nutrient, they don't go to the newer growths. The young growths will show symptoms versus the older growths. It's the opposite. A mobile nutrient, you'll see symptoms on older leaves. In an immobile nutrient, you'll show symptoms on the younger leaves, or younger growths, new shoots, root tips. Does that make sense? All right? So now you know how to tell whether or not, all right, does my orchid have a disease, or does it have a nutritional issue? All right? So now you've eliminated half the problem. Now, if you can tell if it's a mobile or an immobile nutrient, and you can do that by, is it a younger growth showing signs of the issue? Or is it older leaves and older growth showing signs of the issues? That can tell you whether it's a mobile or an immobile growth. A mobile or immobile growth. We'll make sure I'm pronouncing that right for you, or clear. I mumble sometimes. My apologies. All right, this should narrow it down a lot. All right, immobile nutrients like iron, manganese, sulfur, boron, copper, and calcium, those are immobile. When a plant absorbs them, they usually stay put. They can't move them around to suit their needs. All right? The way a plant does this is, I don't know, it's kind of like planned die-off almost, and it's called senescence. But basically what you do is the plant will kill off part of its, if a plant is growing a new shoot and it's not getting enough nutrients from the roots, it will shut that shoot off and direct energy back down to the roots. All right? So if a plant is not getting enough light or natural gases, oxygen, etc., it'll shut down roots and start making more growth on the top to compensate for that. So if you look at your plants and you watch what they're doing, that can tell you whether or not, all right, this issue is, first of all, you don't know whether or not it's a disease or whether it's a nutritional issue. And you should be able to tell by looking at it whether or not it's younger growth or older growth affected. That will tell you whether or not it's a mobile nutrient or an immobile nutrient. At that point, now you've really dialed it down. All right? Now, looking for the symptoms of these different elements is even simpler. It's really, really basic. You won't be able to remember the symptoms or remember some of the issues at first, but after 2 or 3 times of dealing with them and working with them, you'll know at a glance, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, I know what to do, I know what to do. All right? I'm trying to cater my information to what people are asking me in questions and what people are leaving in comments. So if this is helping, let me know and I'll take this a little bit further, but I don't want to take this in this direction if this is not helping people or if this is just too overwhelming or not making sense. Again, thank you for all the questions. Thank you for your time and appreciate everybody watching. Have a great day.